Warning, this podcast contains adult language and spoilers. Listener's discretion is advised.
Leroy Jenkins! Boom, headshot! Boom, headshot! Boom, headshot!
Hey everyone! So, it's been a very long time since the last episode with an interview in it. I got one now though. He goes by the name of Snake, but his YouTube username is Msfactualplays, all one word. You may know him if you watch Chaotic, also known as Cry, Late Night Crew Twitch streams. He is part of the crew, and he has his own YouTube channel, Twitch, and Twitter. All of which I will leave a link to in the description below. I was able to interview Snake and had a lot of fun talking to him about video games, comics, and other stuff. You know, kind of the premise of my podcast. Before you listen to the interview, I want to give you a heads up that our interview took place through Skype, and Skype doesn't like to work well for me, so certain parts of the audio doesn't sound the greatest, but you can still make out what he said. The audio throughout the entire interview isn't the greatest as well, so I apologize for that too, because the world and birds were out to ruin the silence in the interview for me. So my first question is, just to set the record straight, because I feel like this might be a question, this is your legit real voice.
It is, yes.
You do YouTube videos, and do you have like a ritual or a checklist that you go through before you hit record?
Mostly I just make sure that I'm being in the mood to play whatever it is I'm recording.
How do you pick your games?
They're usually games that I've either played before or have some sort of investment in the series that they're from. Usually.
What consoles do you usually play on?
I have PS3, PS4, Wii U, and PC. I tend to fluctuate between games on those consoles.
Sticking to YouTube, do you have any YouTube channels that you watch?
I do enjoy taking a look at the CinemaSin stuff every now and then.
Oh my god, I love them.
Those people do good work. Surprisingly good at pointing out things that you would otherwise not notice.
Yeah, I've watched... No, I'm very biased when it comes to them. I choose not to watch their Everything Wrong With for films that I personally enjoyed or I'm so fangirling over because I'm not ready to see that criticism. But at some point I'm going to sit down and just watch them because everyone has a right to say their mind. And sometimes they just prove something that I accepted it when I saw it. And then after they say, what the hell's up with the scene? And I'm like, damn, they're right.
Yeah, I embrace those, especially for the ones that I've seen. If you're a fan of something, whatever someone says isn't really going to change your mind.
Yeah.
It's not going to make you stop being a fan. And it's good to look at a piece of work that you enjoy in a completely different light and laugh at it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think I follow anyone in particular. I might look at a friend like Judd stuff every now and then. If it's something that I want to watch. Admittedly, I don't think I've ever watched any of Cry stuff.
Just to let everyone know that you are part of the Late Night Crew, as it's come to be called, with Cry, John, and others. Do you mind explaining how you met all of them?
Sure. I met John through a Gary's Mod Turbulent Terrorist Town server. I ran that server. He joined one day, changed his name to Roy Campbell, and I think I hung out with him for at least a couple of years before he brought me into the Skype call for the crew one day during a stream, and it was, I want to say, like October of 2012 that he brought me in, and they didn't tell me to stop coming, so I kept showing up.
So you've known the crew for a few years.
Yeah, about that.
That's amazing. For those who don't know, the Late Night Crew goes live on Twitch at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Are you ever prepared for the shenanigans that happen throughout the stream from late night to early morning?
I don't think any of us are really prepared. None of us know what's going to happen. It's kind of the fun of it all.
That is like anything can happen, well, not anything, but majority might can go on and you're just having the fun and going along with the ride.
Yeah, I mean, we have a set schedule, typically, but we also allow ourselves the luxury of switching things up if we don't feel like playing something or if we feel like playing something else. And we used to have a set time, like we play games in hour segments, but that often doesn't allow a lot of exposure to some games, especially if it's something new, so we now just play things as long as we need to.
Out of all the games that you've played with the LNC, as I'm just going to shorten the name of Late Night Crew, what is your favorite game that you've played?
Oh, that's tough. I enjoyed the Left 4 Dead 2 sessions. I think that was pretty
So you yourself, you have a Twitch that you have a set schedule for when you stream, and you usually do communicate with your viewers or fans, whichever one you want to call them. Do you get excited to see or read your fans while you're playing games?
I mean, yeah, that's, to me, part of the whole atmosphere. It's part of the point. Interacting with the people watching and, just hanging out. That's why I do it.
A lot of the fans know you like juice boxes. How did the juice box question, I guess, come to be during your Twitch streams? People end up asking you, oh, are you drinking a juice box? Or whenever you just mention juice, they ask like, oh, was it a Capri Sun or like a different juice box? How did this come to be?
I'm honestly not sure at this point. I just know that one stream, someone donated, I think, $40 to me, and told me that I had to spend it on $40 worth of juice boxes. So I promised them that I would spend it on $40 worth of Capri Suns. And I delivered on that promise 2 weeks ago, I think.
Oh, wow. What are some of the craziest questions that you have gotten?
I don't know about questions. Most people will ask a lot of things like, is that through your voice, or is he the Dark Knight? Things like that. But people have also made comments like, wow, this guy sounds like a rapist, or,
whoa,
yeah, those are fun.
That escalated quickly. I mean, Snake and Batman I can kind of get because of your voice. That was bound to happen at some point, but that one...
Yeah, I'm not really sure what a rapist sounds like.
Me neither. I hope to never find out, but still.
Yeah.
But I myself, I do watch your streams. I always enjoy it. I love the fan base that always comes by and watches you play. They're always super nice and really excited to just meet new people and introduce them to you. And I noticed that you do your best to remember a lot of the names that appear for people who donate or just people who subscribe or just stop on by and say hello. And you have a really good memory. Do you have a list to the side, or is it just that you have an amazing memory?
I mostly just remember everyone, or try to. There are some people who slip through, but once you see a name, especially if I read it off, like when someone donates or subscribes, I read it off right then and there, and by that point it's committed to memory.
Since people usually take Twitch as the time to ask you any questions that are just burning in their minds, have you ever been pleaded by the fans to have a P.O. box so that they can shower you with gifts?
They have done that, yes. I don't expect that I'll ever do that, but yeah, it's something that I get asked every now and then.
I had mentioned this before, that people donate money to you. What is the largest donation that you have received?
I'm not sure I want to answer a specific amount.
Okay.
The person who has donated the highest amount requested that they remain anonymous, and I would also like to lump in the whole the amount with that, but a lot more than they should have donated.
Okay, that's fine. For people who make the art of you, they always stylize you as the Metal Gear Solid character, and always in different scenarios. Do you ever make requests for people to draw you something, or is it just something that they do on their own and they submit it to you?
Typically, I don't request art. I have recently, through Suda, a person who does a lot of art for the late night stream in general. I'm trying to honestly step away from the whole Snake image, at least like the physical image of the character, for legal reasons.
Oh,
but
I can understand that.
Yeah, mostly what people send me, that's of their own accord.
When you're not making videos for YouTube or streaming on Twitch, what do you like to do?
I call myself a writer, and I try to write every now and then, but with writer's block and time constraints, it's not always a possibility. I also do piano, and I'm trying to learn guitar.
Ooh, what kind of guitar?
Acoustic, classical.
Nice. What do you like to write?
Mostly mystery/horror/science fiction.
That sounds interesting. Sounds like stuff that I like to read. Do you have a favorite author? Okay, do you have 5 favorite authors? Okay, let's not. No, I'm gonna give you 5.
I can probably narrow it down to 1 because Margaret Atwood has been. Yeah, I hesitate to use the word inspiration, but I can't think of any other way to describe it. So I'll go with inspiration for a lot of my writing since I read The Handmaid's Tale. And I want to say 2009.
Okay, now this is actually a personal question because I've always wondered this for a very long time. Cry is mostly infamous for his voice, the Sup Guy logo, and not showing his face. My question is, have you seen his face?
I have not, no.
I've always just wondered that. To me, from seeing the Late Night Crew streams and then your own stream, and how long you've known them, that, I don't know, I guess at like one point he just showed his face out of like trusting you, or just, something about it just came to my attention of wondering if you have seen his face. So I wanted to ask that.
Yeah, that's fair. That is a pretty common train of thought that people have. So it's completely understandable to me.
Just to get a little bit personal, who was the first to call you Snake?
I don't remember who it was exactly, but it happened in a game of Zombie Master, Source Mod, back in 2008. Someone just said, hey, you sound like the character, and I went, huh, I guess I do. And I just sort of ran with it.
They're not wrong, you do, so I'm glad the name stuck at least. It was either that or you were going to probably be called Batman, so personally, yeah, Snake is a little better.
Yeah, I'll take the former.
So my podcast isn't normally just video games. Do you like to read comics?
I am currently plugging away at the Civil War arc in Marvel. I don't have much experience in comics beyond that.
Who's your favorite Okay, no, that's cruel of me to ask. I'm not going to ask who is your favorite Marvel person, because if someone asked me that, I couldn't do it. I would just...
Yeah.
I would break down and start to go like, sorry, 404 error, don't know what you're talking about. I'll ask, what's your top 5? So it gives a little wiggle room of your favorite Marvel characters.
Oh, jeez. Okay. I'll lump in Tony Stark, I guess. Gambit for sure. Maybe Wolverine. I feel skeptical about lumping him in there because everyone says Wolverine.
I mean, he's a badass character.
He is that. Deadpool's pretty good, and I guess Peter Parker.
Are you excited for the Deadpool movie?
I am looking forward to it. I'm not sure how it's going to be, though. It's fully animated, right? Well, he's fully animated, right?
I don't believe so, because I remember the test footage that got leaked out. They did CGI him to see how it was going to go, but I believe they changed it to where Ryan Reynolds is completely wearing the suit, and it's actually him, with maybe a few scenes that are CGI.
Okay. Then that'll probably be okay.
Have you seen... Well, jumping from Marvel to DC, just because it's kind of what's hyping everyone all about on Twitter, have you seen the Suicide Squad trailer?
I have.
How do you feel about that?
I feel as if a lot of the costume design is all wrong.
Okay.
I also am not a fan with what they're doing with Harley.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy I'm just talking to you now. I am not the only one on that.
Yeah, I don't understand what they're doing with her. I don't understand her costume design or her characterization.
Exactly. I saw it and I went, this is wrong. I will fully admit, I am not that knowledgeable. I'm not that smart in DC universe. I'm more Marvel, so I tend to know a lot more about the Marvel universe, though they are very dynamic and different that it's hard to remember anything with their world, so I end up retaining DC a little easier. But with Harley is my favorite person in DC. What they did to her for this film, just based off all the trailers, I mean, I'm still going to go see the film and give it a shot. It doesn't look right.
Now she seems like a ditzy blonde, and Harleen Quinzel is, I mean, she's a psychiatrist, so...
She is.
Or psychologist, one of the two, so she's very intelligent by default. She might be a little insane, granted, but she's not ditzy.
She's not. And, oh man, I forgot who Will Smith is playing. I think it's, what's his name, Deadshot?
Yeah.
Deadshot. I don't know much about his background, but besides Harley, I just feel like they didn't go a good direction with almost all the characters. Except Jared Leto. I mean, it's a little hard to mess up the Joker, unless you just portray him horribly, but excusing him out because that can be a whole different debate, and that could probably take all day with me. The rest of the cast just doesn't look good.
I think they're going for a more gritty visual style here, similar to what they did in the Dark Knight series. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know either. I'm giving it the benefit of a doubt for the sake of doing that, because I'm hoping it turns out to be really good. The one film that I'm not excited for is Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'll see it, but I wasn't a fan of what they did with Man of Steel.
I didn't see that, because in my personal opinion alone, there's only so many ways and so many times you can tell me the story of Superman. There's only so many ways you can tell me his story. But with Batman and Superman versus Batman, or Batman versus Superman, whichever one you want to call it, I don't like what they did with his storyline for the film.
How so?
in the trailer, from what I've seen, they made it so he wants to destroy Superman because they're blaming Superman for all the destruction that he's done to the city during his battles and everything, which is fair game. I mean, he did destroy the city, but my memory just might be shot or shitty. I don't believe in any storyline, no matter what parallel universe you look at. I don't believe Batman ever wanted to destroy Superman, because that's not him at all. He always wants to put them behind bars and have justice be dealt with them correctly.
Well, the thing with that, you can't really put Superman behind bars. He's not human.
Exactly. And they have him. They have the Batman suit all jacked up with technology. I don't know. It looked so not Batman that I didn't like the trailer. Obviously, I'm a Batman fan.
I can see that. I know that he definitely has various suits to combat people
Definitely.
like Superman. Like, that is a thing, canonically, that he has. So it makes sense to me that it's there in the film and the trailer. I'm just curious how everything is going to work visually, because at the end of the day, this is his first encounter with Superman. So I don't quite understand why he has these things right off the bat.
And I remember reading an article that after this Batman vs. Superman film, they have a whole, I think, 5-year plan of films that they have lined up with Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, The Flash, and I think 2 or 3 more characters behind that. They're supposed to be making cameos in this Batman vs. Superman, and in the trailer you actually got to see Wonder Woman.
Yeah, their end goal is a Justice League film. I hope that doesn't happen.
Same. For starters, if they're going with the Justice League, good luck. And if they're trying to go with Justice League Unlimited, all the luck in the world to them on that one, because Jesus, the amount of characters. And just the amount of story that you're going to have to tell with the characters, especially with the ones that don't get their own movies, like Black Canary.
Hawkgirl, Martian Manhunter.
There's so many characters that have such different storylines, and I don't remember any of their storylines. I just remember seeing them part of the team and how they all just have to work together, and that it's not going to be simple if they go with it.
No, but at the same time, look at the Avengers. You have all these characters that have their own very rich histories, but at the end of the day, when you throw them into a mashup movie like that, you don't really need that.
And the best part with the Avengers is that they showed them with their own problems between Captain America and Iron Man, which resulted in, it's Civil War, isn't it?
Yeah, that's on the way.
Oh, definitely. I'm so excited. I'm always 10 times more excited with Marvel because, my opinion, guys, so shoot me in the comments below or Twitter or whatever you want to yell at me at. Not Snake. Don't yell at Snake. Snake is awesome. Not every team works. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes. And I think that is crucial to see in a universe like Marvel. In DC, you don't really have that as much, and that kind of bothers me. That's why I know a lot more about DC than Marvel because of a lot of the animated content.
Same.
At the same time, I still prefer looking at or reading Marvel content because of the way the characters are written. You don't really have that sort of conflict in DC, at least not openly in visual portrayals, the animations, the movies. It's probably there in the comics, but I haven't gotten those, so I can't really attest to those.
Because most of the time, shown either animated or on the big screen, the number one conflict in the DC universe is between Batman and Superman because they're both alpha males, so they tend to butt heads on certain things, especially with how they choose to fight crime and save the day in their own type of manner. But I remember talking to a friend earlier, and they were a little upset because they were disappointed in Marvel with not showing, the true, dirty details of some of the characters. Like, Tony Stark was an alcoholic in the comics. They were they should have shown that. There would have been a good character development because he dealt with almost dying twice, almost getting lost into a different universe, and never seeing Piper again, almost losing Piper. And they wish that they had just gone a little bit more, but then they understood that they were going for more of a family-oriented film and that they can only show so much.
Yeah, and you also have to appreciate that they at least nodded to his alcoholism by having him drink constantly throughout the films. He always has a drink.
Even if they can't show it all the way, they try to give tips for those who have read the comics. They're just very detail-oriented on the fans of, hey, we can't show this, but here's a nod, or here's a clue of what we were trying to do here without saying, oh, here, arrow pointing to this one item that was inspired from the comics. Something like that.
Yeah. You you also, as a consumer, have to appreciate that this is an adaptation above all else. Like, there are some, you've seen Ultron, correct?
Yes.
The bits with Romanoff being, what's the word I'm looking for? Infertile.
Mm-hmm.
I believe she is in the comics, but she doesn't use that as a means to say, well, I'm not a human because I can't have a child. Mm-hmm. That was the choice of Whedon and whoever else had a hand in the script. So there are changes like that you'll see throughout the films that are completely there to drive a plot that would otherwise not really work for that character because the writers make that choice. Some of them are better than others, like a lot of people had trouble with the Romanoff thing. I think those changes are necessary to make, not the Romanoff thing in particular, but choices like that in general are necessary to adapt comics to screen. You have to have something change to condense it all into, 2 hours, 30 minutes. A lot of people don't appreciate that.
How do you feel about the new adaptation of Spider-Man?
I haven't heard too much about it yet. I know there was a lot of talk about whether or not they're going to use Peter Parker or Miles Morales, but I haven't heard what they're going to do exactly for the plot.
I haven't heard either. They've been pretty hush-hush about that, and I believe that's because I don't believe Marvel owns Spider-Man. I don't believe that's it.
No, I think it's, I want to say Sony that owns the rights to Spider-Man. I know they had a fight with him for a while to get the rights to make this movie, and I know they wanted him in Civil War, I think. But if they give us the same Peter Parker origin story that they've given us for the past decade, I don't think anyone's going to be interested.
Out of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, who was your favorite Spider-Man?
Andrew Garfield. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is just silly. The first one was okay, and I can even deal with the second one, but there's no excuse for the third.
I completely understand that. And I think that's actually why I preferred the Tobey Maguire. I haven't seen either of the Amazing Spider-Man films because I'm hard-headed and stubborn, and I didn't want to give up my vision of Spider-Man from Tobey Maguire. But I enjoyed the third one just because of how bad it was. I give it to everybody. That was just a bad film. But I loved it because it was bad. And
yeah, I think that's fair.
I don't know. I think I just enjoyed the quirkiness. I think that's the word I want to go for. With Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, kind of gave it that whole, hey, this is Peter Parker. That's it. This is him. And I went, all right, keep going. You have my attention. I don't know. Something about Andrew Garfield, as soon as I saw the commercials, I didn't even want to see it for Andrew Garfield. I wanted to see it for Emma Stone, because I love Emma Stone.
I'd recommend at least giving them a shot.
Oh, I definitely
Both of them do good work in that film.
I'm going to sit down and at least one day watch them, because I like to just be all caught up, because cross-references with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's always, okay, sit down and watch it, because they're going to mention this at some point in a different film, and I'm not going to have a damn clue what they're talking about. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm cursing too much.
No, it's absolutely fine.
Okay. And I even warned people in the very beginning. So people end up knowing to not let their 4-year-old listen. If a 4-year-old is listening, I hope not. Because they don't have a clue what I'm talking about.
It would be entirely possible that you have an audience of 4-year-olds.
I would love that so much, actually. An audience of 4-year-olds would be amazing. I'm educating them on video games, comics, and other things. Do you enjoy watching television programs?
I don't watch much television these days. I recently finally sat down and binge-watched Breaking Bad on Netflix not too long ago.
And did you like it?
I did. I thought it was very good television. Probably the best I've seen in a good while. I don't think it was as good as many people led me to believe, but it was definitely worth watching.
I tried very hard with Breaking Bad.
What turned you away?
I don't stop watching something because I dislike it, because I have to at least finish it. So when people ask me, I have like valid reasons for why I don't like watching it. Breaking Bad was the only show that I just stopped like three episodes into the second season. I saw all of the first season, and then 3 episodes into the second season, I just quit. I couldn't keep up with it anymore.
Was it boring, repulsive?
It wasn't boring, because Heisenberg and Jesse, I always enjoyed following that storyline. It was, I hated his wife. I adored his son. His son was awesome. The DEA was fascinating to watch. Hated the DEA's wife. But because I knew they would never be gone from the show, like, I know I would ask people on Facebook, I'm like, hey, does Walter's wife die, and they go no, and then I don't know if I can finish this because I couldn't get past her character, but it just kept losing me with the wife and his home life. I was so sick of it, and I couldn't get past it, so I just dropped the show.
I can understand that a lot of people have trouble with Skylar. I binge-watched Battlestar Galactica when I watched it for the first time. I binge-watched Buffy and Angel very, very often. At least I have over the years. Pretty much anything by, well, not anything by Whedon, but Dollhouse, Firefly. I'm recently getting into the X-Files, or I've recently gotten to the X-Files. I feel like I'm leaving something out. That's very, House of Cards. I do enjoy House of Cards. Third season hasn't been, or from what I've seen of it so far, I stopped to watch other things, but it hasn't been the most enthralling, but the first two are wonderful.
That's what I say whenever a friend tells me that they're going to get into American Horror Story. I really enjoy that show. The entire show is messed up, but I enjoy it. And I always tell them that they don't have to watch the show in order. Each season has its own storyline. They're connected in some way. I can't figure it out, and I'm not going to put that much mental time into it. I just enjoy the show. But I always tell them that the third season is the worst, and to at least save it for last. Have you seen American Horror Story?
I have not.
I recommend it if you're into murder mystery and everything like that. Especially the first season, because they talk about the Black Dahlia murder case. And that was actually a really cool take on it for the first season. I recommend it if you choose to watch that.
Duly noted.
How about Game of Thrones? Are you into that?
I do watch Game of Thrones, yes.
What house do you think you would go for?
Probably Stark.
I think I would go for House Tyrell. Yeah.
White Tyrell.
Something about them, just based off the characters that are from that house, is so amazing. They're cunning. They know what they are doing to just stay alive and to advance in that world, that I feel as if that house would be the best choice out of all the houses. House Targaryen is a mess. House Stark is doing what they can. All the best efforts. House Bolton is no. Just no. I couldn't, especially with their symbol being the flayed man, I wouldn't survive in that house. They would kill me, just off my smart mouth. House Lannister, I would have died during Joffrey's reign immediately.
They are a doozy of a house.
They are, with the shame walk with Cersei.
Yeah.
I would have died so early in the show if I was in House Lannister. Unless I would have probably been a whore for Tyrion, just because I knew he would keep me alive.
You probably would, yeah.
I wouldn't make him fall in love with me because that was fucked up. No, I would have just been a whore, but like, just save me. But with House Tyrell, they would have been, out of all the houses, they're the safer choice, and I liked them the most. Or it could have became a Dothraki. There we go. Yeah. I don't think I would have survived too long because a lot of sex and rape happens, so they maybe would have killed me. But they're free and they're nomads, so it's like, all right, this isn't too bad. And they just
the Dothraki are intense.
They are. They're very intense. I don't know if I would have personally survived. I probably would have ran away. As long as I don't become the dragon scale people, no.
Yeah, I think it is dragon scale.
Okay, yeah.
No, it might be stone scale. I think it's stone scale.
I think you're right. Yeah. I said I would have lived on the water, but knowing me and not knowing how to navigate a boat and being scared of boats, I probably would have got sent to that little island and I would have died. Either way, I don't think I would have died in House Tyrell. Point being, I wouldn't die with House Tyrell.
I do think they are at current, the safest house to be a part of.
Are you all caught up with it?
I am.
How do you feel about the newest soldier to protect Cersei, who I am just calling Mary Shelley?
That is an apt name, I think. An appropriate name. Are spoilers, potential spoilers, okay?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm fairly certain that it's the Mountain. I think that's everyone's biggest theory, considering the, I forget the guy's name, but the outed Maester. Mm-hmm. The guy who was doing a bunch of experiments in that creepy basement. Mm-hmm. Experimenting on dead people, and we know that Oberyn poisoned the Mountain during their fight. So chances are he died or was very close to dying, and he had the Mountain. So chances are he brought him back.
I'm just very curious to know how it's going to go next season. especially since a lot of people hate Ollie for all those Jon Snow fans. And I'm one of them. I hate Ollie at this point. And after I actually saw that episode, I couldn't help but just look and be like, why is Mary Shelley and Caesar making a cameo in this episode?
I didn't make the Caesar connection. Now I feel like I failed.
I love the fan theories saying that Jon Snow is not dead because the fire god lady is there and that she might be of some importance.
There's some stuff in the books that also indicate that he might not be entirely dead. But, with Melisandre being there, chances are they're going to change it up a bit. That would make more sense.
What is it? House Baratheon. I'm glad that house is out now. I was never okay with that house, but I respected the father because he loved his daughter. As soon as he killed her, I was done, and I was ready for them to die.
That doesn't even happen in the books, and it's confusing a lot of people.
Really?
Yeah, Stannis retreats, if memory serves. He definitely sends his wife and daughter somewhere else before marching on Winterfell.
Well, goddamn it, Game of Thrones, you could have gone with that instead of, hey, kill my daughter. Oh, snap, my wife committed suicide. Who now suddenly cares for her daughter. Did she ever love her daughter in the book? I've never read the books.
Neither have I.
Oh.
I only have people that have read the books to tell me pretty much everything that they changed. But I don't recall the relationship between Stannis and his wife and his daughter, and even the relationship between his wife and his daughter being as icy as it is in the show.
I wanted to read the books, but then I started watching the show, and in my opinion, if a book becomes a show or a movie, you have the choice to read the book, or, not or watch the film and go by either adaptation. Well, the real storyline or the adaptation storyline. Once I started watching the show, I chose not to read the book because that only ends up with me being sad or angry because it didn't include something or they changed one thing.
It'll also potentially spoil you for the show when they get to those points.
Exactly. I didn't want that, so I just chose to just watch the show and deal with it that way. I don't actually know if I have friends who read the book. No, I do. I just don't talk to them about it because they get angry because I have it wrong. And then I get angry because they tell me something that's going to happen either in the next season or not happen, but I'm hyped for it. And I'm just not ready for that.
Yeah, that's fair.
For clarification, I meant to say that LNC, Late Night Crew, stream every Saturday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will leave a link to that as well. I know you may be thinking he didn't sound invested into the conversation, but he was. I promise. I had a great chat with him. Also, do you guys like how I have more of the interview in the podcast? In the first 3 episodes of the podcast, they were short and to the point, but that was because they were done for a class and I had restrictions. Now I have free reign and want to know if you like the new format or if I should try something different. I'm trying to make them more conversational. Tell me on Twitter or in the comments. Don't forget to check out Snake's YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. He's a really cool guy and is definitely worth looking into. If you happen to see one of his Twitch streams, you might even see me there in the chat talking to him and others. So don't be afraid to say hello. Also, check out my blog where I talk video games, comics, and more as well. You can get the links for both my Twitter and blog in the description below. Hit the subscribe button because you like what you hear and want to know when the next episode is up. That is all I got for you guys this week. Signing off from Alternative Universe, I'm Jess.